It was all normal. Like he came to our room, we were talking, and everything was normal. We went down, and he said he's going to take a shower. So once he came out, like he didn't exactly come out, so he started calling out to us. And then when we went there, he said he had like this burning sensation, which was like from the chest going towards his abdomen, and he was feeling a little faint. So we initially thought maybe it's because his glucose levels are going down or something like that, and we gave him glucose. But it didn't happen to work out, and he asked us to rush him to the hospital. So we came here, and here I came to know that he had a heart attack, and there we were. So initially when I came in, there was like starting from the cardiologist. They never gave me much of a hope. They did tell me there was 0.1% chances and miracles and everything, and I guess we still held on. They never gave up. They never said, oh no, it's not possible anymore. They still gave me the chance, and then at that point I genuinely did not know who the cardiologist was or who the CTVSM was going to be, and then we came to know Dr. Tamim was going to be the surgeon, and he came in and he positively told me that usually we don't take up such cases, but since we're requesting so much, and he's going to give it a try. But as any other doctor said, 0.1% and hope for a miracle and pray to God. So this is how it started off, and he comes out and he told us that he got through. It was like amazing. Miracles do happen, I guess. So since I'm also in the medical field, and we see when a doctor says a miracle has to happen, you kind of know where it's heading towards. So I think most of us started slowly getting mentally prepared at that point. But I think even when Dr. Tamim came in and told me this, the only thing in my head was I want to give my 100% and have no regrets tomorrow, and leave the rest up to the doctors, because they know what they're doing. And I just left it at that. I just told him this much, that give your 100% and we'll see what happens.
Like before, when he was taken out, we thought it was just sugar level down, so I was just not much worried. I didn't panic also that time. So my daughter just took him to the hospital. Later when she called and told me that he had a massive heart attack, and this, I was really shattered. I don't know what to it was like zero for me. So the main thing I was just going to, he said, Amma, it's only God's miracle. I just went to God, just sat in the puja room, and that is what I was doing. Just chanting. And after that, I just came to the hospital. There I was doing the same thing, just praying for him so that the operation is success. So once around 6, I think we came out and said the operation is success. That is when I got a big relief from it. It's just God's miracle, that's what I can say. And Dr. Tamim has just come like a God.
Certainly, I first thank Dr. Tamim for his not known earlier. And on the day of 29th after the surgery, by evening, 7:30 had come to my ward in intensive care unit. He came straight to me. He just told me that his hand was just there, literally, physically, with hot hands. Nobody, a man who's been sent by God with golden hands. This is what I got about the doctor. And from then onwards, further treatment and the rest of things, it's a history. And of course, I have to thank the specialist in the hospital. Now, to thank them is not, there are a lot of, this is not my first admission in this hospital, but this time the kind of service, the kind of professional touch what they've given, and of course, there are a lot of people talk something different, I should do this different. this different. This I have to inform the other parents. And also I have to convey friends and relatives not to go panic and register those people to lose their golden house. Like what we got to carry out without creating any kind of commotion. I'm now extremely happy in the sense that I don't know how to explain it. I've got a lot of patents from doctors, patents on the back saying that I'm doing a good job. When I was doing those, I knew that somebody will come, something goes wrong to me, somebody will come for my help. Today, Dr. Nabi Muhammad has come like I'm calling God. The doctor said, by God with golden hands. If this hospital wouldn't have been here, I wouldn't have been sitting here today. That is for sure. 100%. Because nearby, 10 kilometers, there are no hospitals. I didn't have the time. I was aware when I was taken from home, I was a bit aware. And they just put me into the car. I know, I told them, go to specialist. Take me to the doctor. That was the thing I was shouting at.
I got a call from the cardiologist who described that the patient is having a ventricular rupture, free wall rupture it's called, LV free wall rupture. So this is a dreaded complication of a myocardial infarction. Heart attack होने के बाद, heart attack आदमेले, this is one of the most dangerous complication which is having a very high mortality. And that means that very few patients of this complication of a heart attack survives. So this was what the call came to me, that this patient is having a free wall rupture of the heart after having a heart attack. So as soon as we got that information, my cardiac surgical team was mobilized, in which we have a cardiac anesthetist and full cardiac team that was mobilized, and we came to see the patient, and the patient was in the ICU, and auto transfusion of the blood was happening. In the sense, blood was taken out from the pericardial cavity. Heart is there, heart is given way, there's blood inside the pericardial cavity, and it's just going to bleed. Heart is going to bleed, and the person collapses within few minutes and few seconds. So you must have heard of heart attacks, and you must have heard of people dying of heart attacks. Heart attack is the number one killer in India and in the world. Maximum number of videos it's producing. Every minute there are 4 young patients who are dying in India. Every second, the 4 young people who are dying in India less than the age of 40 years. When they die, many of these we don't know why they have passed away. When they come to the hospital, they are brought dead, or if such a patient of a heart attack complication arrives to the hospital, the patient usually doesn't survive. Internationally, mortality is recorded of such problems of a free wall rupture, heart rupture. उसका जो mortality बताया गया है internationally, it's up to 80% when the patient reaches the hospital. But majority of these patients don't reach the hospital. This patient came to our hospital specialist, and this patient was attended this patient was attended in our hospital by the emergency team, by the intensive care team, by our cardiologists. And when they saw and they did an echo fast, and they understood that there is a free wall rupture, heart is given way, and there's blood leaking, and there's no much time. And then the full process was activated, and meanwhile the blood was taken out from the pericardial cavity, a cavity which is covering the heart, and given through another artery or vein, so that the patient doesn't collapse. So by the time the patient had been coming to the ICU, the pH was very low. pH is something of a normal body is somewhere close to 7.4. But this, in a circulatory collapse, when there is a circulatory failure, when there is a heart failure, when heart stops, the pH starts suddenly rising. There's a lot of acid in the body. It's something like 6 something. The pH was something like 6.7, 6, which is not usually compatible with life. So when this happened, we immediately, the cardiac surgical team was immediately activated, and this patient was wheeled in immediately to the operation theatre. And in the operation theatre, it's a very big risk of this kind of thing. Usually it's not possible to take even the patient like this to the operation theatre. It doesn't give time. Somehow the system was so fast and so activated that we were able to take this patient to the theatre, operation theatre. And in the operation theatre, after shifting the patient, as I was explaining to the patient attendants also, that shifting this patient from the table to the table is also a risk. The heart stops suddenly. And one more thing, before taking, there was a short period which was special period when I spoke to the attendant, and there's a daughter who's a medico. She understood the complications and she said, I understand totally. The daughter of this patient said that I understand totally the complications involved and I am ready to take any risk, sir, please just go ahead. That was really some special moment in which that gave us a lot of confidence about this patient attendant, and the patient attendant putting confidence in the surgical team when the risks are so high, when the stakes are so high. So when we were able to take the patient to the theatre very fast without wasting too much time, and we had to do the sternotomy, opening up the rib cage, and urgent institution of a cardiopulmonary bypass. We had to urgently institute cardiopulmonary bypass and circulated the blood, and then when we were able to see that the heart had given way in the inferior wall. So there was a heart attack, and after the heart attack, the heart had given way. And stitching that heart is a challenge, and that patient coming out of the operation theatre is a challenge. And very few recorded cases are there. In the medical literature, very few recorded cases. To the best of our knowledge, we don't know many survivors. To the best of our knowledge, we don't know many survivors of such a problem. So this patient was in the operation theatre, and we really had to take up our, it was on our nerves. So our full team of cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, anesthetists was inside. In fact, even the orthopedic surgeon in this hospital was inside the operation theatre, looking at how we are going to help and tackle the situation. And we took special techniques, and we had special ways that we are able to take care of this patient, and we were able to stop the bleeding, and we were able to reverse this dreaded complication. And once the patient was back in the ICU, something very, very unique and very, very special is the patient was extubated. We have got into conscious within 2 hours. 2 hours from the time after shifting from the operation theatre inside the ICU, a patient recovering itself is actually a medical marvel, because it's called fast tracking. Fast tracking we can do in normal operations. Fast tracking, we have some of the highest experience in the country of fast tracking in cardiac surgeries, and this patient with such a big complication of a heart attack coming out and being able to recover so fast is something of a really something which amazed our team, which amazed everybody, and we were so happy and we were so relieved and we were so light after coming out of a successful operation.
I think I want to watch a movie with him. It's been a while. That's the first thing I want to do. And maybe spend more time with him. That's for sure. A lot of family time coming up. And party. Family party. Success party. I have to say this. From the start, from the time I came to the hospital till now, specialist team has been so helpful, and they have such an amazing array of staff, and they were so friendly, and I should really thank them for what they've done. Like from the time I walked in till now, it's been like so smooth, and I didn't have any problem with it. I'm really grateful. And doctor's team, I don't even know how to thank them at this point. I think before I entered, I did say this, which I shouldn't have. Like, you guys are my dog. Like, you guys are God for me at this point. And they just happened to come in and save the day. Like, literally those heroes without capes. That's what they were. And I'm like so grateful to them. I don't know how to even express it at this point.